big four or a mid-sized firm? Which one should you choose for your articleship? And should you go for industrial training or not? I'll explain all these options one by one. Let's start with big four or big six. First, you will get domain expertise. If you do your articleship from a big four, you'll work only in one domain. Maybe stat audit, internal audit, direct tax or indirect tax, or some other department. This can be limiting because you don't get exposure of any other area. However, if you go for, let's say, stat audit, like I did, you'll get great quality experience in that one domain. And the kind of work that you'll get to do in a big four will not be available in a mid-sized firm. I have seen how audits are done in mid-sized firms, and I've also done my articleship from GT in stat audit. So if you're working on a client in a mid-sized firm, your clients will also be smaller and stuff like Indias won't even apply on them. Whereas in big four, you'll get to work on all the different Indias like 116 or financial instruments. I got to do all that work in my articleship because I did my articleship from GT and worked on listed clients and big private companies. Second, you get to see how big firms and MNCs work. So the way a big four does audit is very different from the way a mid-sized firm would do audit. In a big four firm, there is proper audit documentation and all the steps of the audit procedure are followed. There are such detailed work papers for every aspect of the audit that you get to learn a procedure in depth. And over the course of your articleship, you'll get to work on almost all those areas. This will not only show you what's the systematic way of working, but it will also help you in subjects like audit and FR because you've already done all that work in office. Third, the leave application system for a big four will be through their portal. So you'll have a clear track of how many leaves you have availed and how many leaves are pending. And your seniors won't be able to mess around with your leaves that much. Whereas in a mid-sized firm, there won't be any sophisticated leave system. Fourth, your future job potential will be enhanced because a big four or a big six name will add a lot of value to your CV. I remember when I gave my interview for Deloitte, the interviewer asked that, oh, you're from GT, right? So you must know Excel. I said, yeah, I know Excel very well because I've worked on that for 3 years. So they did not even have to test my Excel skills in the interview. I had done my articleship from GT and they knew that I could work on Excel. Also, doing articleship from Big 4 or Big 6 could also be a shortlisting criteria for some companies during the placements. Fifth, you'll get a higher stipend when you're working in a Big 4, and also your salary after qualifying from a Big 4 would be higher if you want to continue in a Big 4. For example, if I would have continued in GT after qualification, I would have become senior consultant directly. However, if someone from a mid-sized firm would have joined after qualification, he or she would join as a junior consultant. So doing my articleship from GT would have given me a 1-year jump over others. But I've only seen that advantage if you are working in a Big 4 or a Big 6 post qualification. And lastly, if you set up your own practice and you want to specialize in a certain area like direct tax, it would give you a big edge over other practicing firms if you have had experience from a Big 4 in DT because you would have worked on very big cases with multinationals. Now, if you're going for a Big 4 or a Big 6, you'll also need to decide on the domain that you're applying for, or at least open to. Generally, there will be 3 main domains: stat audit, direct taxes, and indirect taxes, of which stat audit will have the highest number of vacancies. So most of you will get a chance in that department only. I chose stat audit because I was interested in stock markets, and at least with stat audit, I'll get to work with balance sheets and P&Ls and cash flows, etc. And in DT and IDT, I wouldn't get to do anything related to accounts. So that was my reason. You could be interested in DT or IDT, so you could go for those fields. And you can also switch your domain after qualification. For example, I've seen people who worked in DT or IDT in their articleship, and after qualification, they ended up working in FDD, that is financial due diligence. So don't stress too much about the domain thing. Now coming to mid-sized firms. Number 1 point would be you'll become a jack of all trades. You'll get to work on stat audit, direct taxes, indirect taxes, and all other areas in which your firm works. Second, you'll also get a lot more responsibilities because there won't be a very big hierarchy. Third, you'll get a lot more time to study compared to a Big 4 because work in a Big 4 or a Big 6 is very, very hectic. And fourth, this will be a very good option if you want to open your own practice. Now coming to industrial training. The first point is that you'll get to work in an industry. So you'll get industry exposure and you'll get to do work that is different from audit and taxation. Second, your stipend will be a lot higher and your salary would be higher if you join an industry at the beginning because industries pay more than Big 4 or Big 6. Although the salary growth rate won't be as high. Third, it will add value to your CV because you will have exposure of working in a big multinational. And you can also continue in that company post qualification if they like how you work and you like how they pay. I did not go for an industrial training only because it would have impacted the leave period I got for my first attempt. I would have had to do with one less month. But that problem might be solved now because you can only give your first attempt after completing 2 years of articleship. So you'll get 6 months of leave regardless of where you do your articleship from. So now that I've mentioned all the plus points of Big Four, mid-sized firm and industrial training, how should you decide where to go? Number one, you should apply for all the Big Fours and Big Six and try to get in whichever department you can because the experience that you'll gain from that place would be incredible. If you don't get a Big Four or a Big Six, not a problem. And if you get into a Big Four or a Big Six and you cannot handle the pressure, then in that case, you can quit the Big Four or a Big Six in the first year of articleship and join a mid-sized firm instead. I had also planned on doing that, but luckily or unluckily, my seniors in my first year of articleship were great and the work pressure was manageable. So I ended up staying for the entirety of my articleship in GT. Otherwise, if my first year would have been the same as my second year, then I would have left GT in the first year itself. And then after doing 1 year of our articleship, you can go for industrial training. I would advise against industrial training only for those people who want to continue in a Big Four after qualification or who want to start their own practice. Because if you want to start your own practice, it makes more sense to learn audit, taxation and other CA related work in your articleship. Now, regardless of where you do your articleship from, post qualification, you'll get to apply for a Big Four, you'll get to apply for industry, and you'll get to apply for all the different domains that are out there. So don't stress too much about where you do your articleship from. You can find your ideal job or domain post qualification regardless of your background in articleship. All different types of experiences will have some pros and cons. I have a very good knowledge of stat audit. However, my practical knowledge of DT and ITT is not very high. So everything has its pros and cons. And no matter what you choose, don't compromise with your mental health and your studies. If you start working in a Big Four and it affects your mental health or you're not able to study properly, then I think you should quit and join a mid-sized firm. But all of this is just my opinion, right? However, Neeraj Arora Sir made a video in which he interviewed many CAs on this topic about doing articleship from Big Four, mid-sized firm or going for industrial training. So I will link that video in the description and you should watch it so that you'll get a lot of different opinions on this same topic. If you like this video, then drop a like and share it with your friends. And for more such content, hit subscribe. And if you want to learn how to crack your articleship interviews, then watch this video right here. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.